What's up, these attackers? If you're taking the August SAT, then you clicked in the right video, because in this video we're going to solve 10 of the hard SAT questions that's going to show up in the August SAT most probably. So if you're taking the August SAT, make sure that you watch this video until the end and do these questions, because you're going to see some of these questions on your test. Now, before starting to solve the questions, make sure that you download the PDF of these questions below this video so you can do the questions with me, because you won't learn how to ride a bike by watching me ride a bike, right? So make sure you download the questions and even do the questions before even I do, and then check the video solution and see if you solved it correctly or if you solved it the correct way, the fastest way. This is going to be the part 1 of this video where we solve 10 of the questions that can show up in the test. We're gonna have the part 2 where I solve the second 10 questions towards the test, so make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned for that video, the part 2, because you can see some of those questions as well. So without further ado, let's solve the questions. All right, the first question that we have is a unit conversion question, which is always 100% I'm sure is going to be in the test. Always there's unit conversion question in the test. So let's see how we do this question. The question says an object's speed is meters per hour is increasing at a rate of this much per hour, meters per hour, per second. Which of the following is closest to the rate in feet per second square? So what we have here is the rate of the speed is increasing, so that's acceleration basically. Now 1530 is the rate at, what is unit? Meters per hour per second. That's the unit of this rate of increase. Now which of the following is close to the rate in feet? So what we're looking to convert this is feet per second square. So we want to convert the meter into feet and this hour into seconds. So second times second becomes second squared. That's what we want to do. So let's go ahead. 1530 meter per hour per second times, let's convert the meter into feet. So I'm going to write meter down, feet up. So maybe multiply, meters cancel out. So we know that 1 meter is 3.28 feet. So 3.28 goes there. Now let's convert this hour into seconds. So hour is up, second is down. So this hour and this hour cancels out. And we know that 1 hour is 3600 seconds. So let's convert this. Now we're going to do 1530 times 3.28 divided by this. So let's do that on decimals. 1530 times 3.28 divided by 3600. That's going to give us 1.394, and it is closest to choice B. That's going to be the answer. And when we multiply this, we're going to get feet per second times the second is going to be feet per second square. So we converted this unit with this unit this way, and we get choice B. That's how you did this question. Now let's move on to question number 2. Here it says the exponential function f is defined by f of x equals this, where a and b are positive constants. If f of n is equal to, if f of n minus 1 should be here. Now in question number 2, the exponential function f is defined by f of x, where a, b are positive constants, and if f of n minus 1 is equal to f of n plus 82 over 100 with f of n minus 1, where n is a constant, what is the value of b? This is a good question. How can we do this question? The question says we have this equation here for f of n minus 1 is equal to f of n plus 82 over 100 f of n minus 1. What is the value of b, which is here? So here's what we can do. We're gonna move, this is f of n minus 1, this is also f of n minus 1. We can move this to the other side, so that's going to give us f of n minus 1 minus 82 over 100 f of n minus 1, which is gonna be 18 over 100. So 18 over 100 f of n minus 1 is equal to f of n, right? And now what is f of n, which is f of x basically? Rather than n, let's just substitute x there. It's the same thing. It's going to be a b to the power of x, or a b to the power of n. Doesn't matter. Now here, a b to the power of x, I'm going to write in terms of x rather than n to make it simple. And f of n minus 1 means whatever this n minus 1 is, you plug that into x. So it's going to be a times b to the n minus 1, or a times b to the x minus 1. Same thing. So this is also a times b to the n x minus 1. All right, so now we can put this into decimals and see what is gonna happen. I have 18 over 100 times a b to the power of x minus 1, and this is equal to a b to the power of x. Now here, this a and this a cancels out. There's a's in both sides, so we can just cancel a's. There we go. So we have this. Now what we want to do is we want to solve for b, but the decimals doesn't know what is b. So what we can do is let's just convert these x's into n. We can write them as n2, right? We want to solve for b, so rather than b, I'm gonna put x, so decimals can solve for the value of x, which is b in this case. So we're gonna put x's here because we want to solve for b. Now we don't see anything because we don't know what is n, so just put the number to n and see what happens. N equals 2. And there is a straight line. I want to see the graph rather than the straight line, so I can click on it. I'm going to do minus, move everything to one side. And then let's zoom in and see the x-intercept. That's going to be the answer. We have one x-intercept as 0 and the other one as 0.18. Now, when I move n, anything, again, it's 0.18. So no matter what is the value of n, the x, which is b, is going to be 0.18. Why not 0? You might be asking, because this is an exponential function, all right? So the exponential function f is defined by this, and a, b are positive constants. So b is a positive constant. 0 is not positive nor negative. So it can't be 0. It's going to be the second one, which is 0.18. That's how we can do this question in the fastest way, that you just put it into decimals and solve for b, rather than doing on the paper the whole thing. This is the question solution 0.18. Now, if you came up to this point and you're serious about your SAT scores, then you can book a one-on-one tutoring with me for free down below this video. And in that session, we can figure out a game plan for your August SAT and see how you can get the target score that you want to. Now let's do question number 3. In question number 3, it says there is an equation. It's a circle's equation. In the xy plane, the graph of the given equation is a circle. If the circle is inscribed in a square, what is the perimeter of the square? So the circle is inscribed in a square. Then there's a square here like this. This doesn't look like a square, but let's try again. There we go. And there's a circle inscribed inside. What is going to be the perimeter of the square? Now, if I can find the radius of the circle or the diameter of the circle, then I will find one side of the square, and then we can times 4 to find the perimeter. Now, how can we find the radius? This is not in the standard form. Now, most of the students, what they would do is taking factoring and doing all of those calculations, algebra, and converting this circle equation to the standard circles equation, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And then you can see that this is the radius. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna plug this into decimals because the circle equation is all complete. So we can see the circle and just see the radius directly there without doing any calculations. So I'm gonna do x squared minus 6x plus y squared minus 4y minus 51 equals 0. There we go. Here is the circle. Now look at the top point and the bottom point. And by finding the distance between these 2 points, 10 to negative 6, you see that the diameter is 16. So this length is 16. So the perimeter of the square is gonna be 16 times 4. You get 64 as the answer. Choice C is the correct answer. And that is how we can do this question. It's a very common question. All right, question number 4. A scientist studying the life cycle of butterflies counted the number of butterflies in a certain habitat each day for 46 days. On June 15, there were 168 butterflies in the habitat. The percent increase in the number of butterflies in the habitat from May 1st to June 15 was 31.25%. How many butterflies were in the habitat on May 1st? That's the starting day, the first day that we started to count the butterflies. So from May to June 15, from May 1st to June 15, we had 31.25% increase. And at the end here, there were 168 butterflies. Now, how much was at the starting? That it increased by 31.25% and we got into 168. Now, here I'm going to give you an example. If something increases by 100%, then it doubles. If something increases by 100%, it doubles. How did we do this? How did we get from 100% into times 2? Is we divided by 100 and then added 1. So we divided by 100, then added 1. For example, if something increases by 200%, then it's going to 200 divided by 100, 2 plus 1, 3. So it's going to times 3 if something increases by 200%. So now I'm going to delete this. Since you got that, that means now from here, this is x. This x has increased by this. So how many times did it become? So we divide this by 100, add 1. So it's going to be 0.3125, then add 1 is going to be 1.3125. So that means from May 1st, we increased 31.25%. That means it became 1.3125 times. The way I did that was divide 31.25 by 100. It is 0.3125. And then you add 1 plus 1. It is 1.3125, which is this. So it becomes times that, right? So that's how we got this. Now, this is x. So x times 1.3125 is equal to 168. What is the value of x? We can put this into decimals or we can can divide both sides by 1.3125. So I'm going to do that. 168 divided by 1.3125 is the value of x, which is 128, and that is choice A. So at May 1st, there was 128 butterflies. It increases by 31.25%, or it becomes 1.3125 times for the June 15 and becomes 168 butterflies. That's how you do this question. You are doing great. You're moving to question number 5. Make sure that you solve these questions. If you haven't downloaded the PDF, download the PDF below, solve the questions yourself, because if you see these questions in the test, then you would remember that you've seen the question before, but you won't remember the solution because you haven't solved it. So make sure you solve the questions, and if you want to do the get notified for the part 2, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification, so when I publish the part 2 of this predictions, you can also get the part 2 and do those next 10 questions. Now let's move on to question 5. So this question says the solution to the given equation are this and this, where m and q are integers. What is the value of m plus q? So here right off the bat, I can see that this is a quadratic function. I can plug this into Desmos and see the solutions, which is this and this, but the solutions are in the quadratic formula format. This means don't do Desmos, and the reason I say this is because if we plug them into Desmos, see what's gonna happen. Plus 5x minus 37. I moved everything to one side. Here's the solutions. Look at the solutions. They are not integers. These are long decimals, and you don't want to deal with these numbers. You don't want to do that. So rather than that, you can just do it with the quadratic, the normal usual way that we do on paper using quadratic formula. So let's just do that one. The solutions are these. We know that the solutions of the quadratic equation is negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we will use this. Okay, so we have two solutions. Negative b here is, first I'm going to write this in the standard form, move everything to one side. X squared plus 5x minus 37 equals 0. Now negative b is negative 5. This is b, this is a, this is c. So negative b plus square root of b squared is 25 minus 4 times a is 1, c is negative 37, ac is negative 37 times negative 37 divided by 2a, so that is 2. The second solution is negative 5 minus what is this 25 minus under the square root? Let's just find it out. 25 minus 4 times negative 37. Minus 4 times negative 37 is 173. So I'm just going to write 173 under this to make it simple. There we go. 137. And this one is also 137 divided by 2. Now look at this. This is the exact format as this. The denominator is 2, the denominator is 2. If make sure that the format is the same, because sometimes you might have denominator 2 here and denominator 4 here, right? And then you have to simplify this and make it look like that with a denominator of 2. Whatever the format is, you have to make it look like this. Now that they are already in that form, we can see that m is negative 5, and q, which is under the square root, is 137. So what we're looking for is m plus q. All right, so m negative 5 plus q 137. That's going to give us 132 as the answer. That's how you do this question. All right, next we have a very common question. A right triangle pyramid has exactly 6 edges. Each of these edges is 96. So this means all the edges are equal. It's an equilateral triangle. If the surface area of the pyramid is this, what is the value of k? So here you have to know and memorize a very important formula about equilateral triangles, the area of the equilateral triangles. So this shape looks like this. There is a triangle. This is the base of the pyramid, and there is the other 3 lateral faces. So it's like looking at the pyramid from the top. Now this is all the edges are 96, and you can see that we have 6 edges, as the question says. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all of them are equal. Okay, now we're looking for the surface area of this. Surface area is going to be the area of one of these triangles times 4. 1, 2, 3, and the base. 4 of these sides. So we just need to find the area of one of these equilateral triangles with a side length of 96. Here, to find the area of a triangle, you know that the area of triangle is height times base divided by 2. But the area of equilateral triangle, because we don't know what is height, there's a formula for equilateral triangle that you can find the area using only one side, and that is the formula square root of 3 over 4a squared. This is the formula to the area of equilateral triangle. It is very important that you make sure you memorize this formula. You know this formula. Now that means a is one of the sides, so just plug a there. So the area of one of these equilateral triangles is root 3 over 4 times a squared. So a is 96 squared. That's area of one of the equilateral triangles. How many of them do we have? We have 4 of those equilateral triangles, 4 faces, 3 around and 1 the base. So we multiply this by 4 to get the surface area of the whole shape. So 4's cancel out and you get 96 squared root 3. So this is equal to, the question says k root 3, and you can see that root 3 is also cancelled out. So this means the question, the College Board itself himself wanted you to use this formula, to know this formula, because the root 3s, they even gave you this in the root 3 format. So you even cancel these root 3s and you can see k is equal to 96 square, and 96 square is the easy part. You don't want to do mistake here. 9216 is the answer. So that is how you do this question, the fastest way, the best way, the easiest way. Let's move on to question number 7. All right, question number 7. The question says, at different times on a certain day, a manager at a theme park recorded the number of visitors. An exponential model gives the estimated number of visitors v at the theme park t hours after the theme park opened, where t is less than or equal to 3. This is very important that you read the question carefully, that here it says t is in hours, okay? Because sometimes, now I don't know if this question is going to test us that, but sometimes they give you t in hours and they ask in minutes. The number that is given, actually here it's every 30 minutes. Yeah, this is that question. So let's just read. Based on the model, 80 visitors were estimated to be at the theme park when it opened, and every 30 minutes the estimated number of visitors increases by 150% of the estimated number of the visitors 30 minutes earlier. Yeah, which of the following equation best represents this model? So it gives us t in hours, but we have 30 minutes and it increases by 150%. Just like the question that, which question was that? We used the percent. There we go. Question 4, that we compare the percent of and percent increase. It's the same thing. Here it says it increases by 150%. So that's how many times. If it increases by 150%, we divide by 100 plus 1. So 150 divided by 100 is going to be 1.5. Then plus 1 is going to be 2.5. So every time, in every 30 minutes, it becomes 2.5 times the previous time. So it becomes 2.5. That's the rate of change here that we want to look for. So C and D is out. If you didn't know this, you would just miss this question. Now, you know exponential function is a times b to the power of x. B is the rate of change. So that's why 2.5 is going to be there. Now, the initial value is 80. That is in both of the values, both of the choices. We're looking for the exponents. Here, if, so here what we will do, we have to plug minutes. We have to plug hours into t because t is in hours. So 30 minutes is half an hour, right? So rather than 30 minutes, you're not plugging 30 here. If you plug 30 here into t, this is going to be 30 over 31, so it becomes 2.5 times. Then this would be correct. But because you have to plug hours, so 30 minutes is equal to 0.5 hours, and you plug 0.5 here, so t 0.5 times 2 is going to give us 1. Then this becomes correct. So 2.5 to the first power is 2.5, so it is being multiplied by 2.5. So choice A is the correct answer. That is how we do this question. It's a tricky one, so make sure you always read this question correct. Read the question carefully and know the variables, the units of the variable that is given to you and that is being asked to you. This is how we do this question. And let's move on to question number 8. So in the next question, we have a triangle XYZ. Angle Y is a right angle. The measure of angle Z is 38 degrees and the length of YZ is 28 units. Okay, so here I need to draw the triangle. So Y is the right angle. Okay, let's do this. Here is Y, we have X, and we have Z. The measure of angle Z is 38. Here is 38, and the length of YZ is 28. So here's 28, here's 90. If the area in square units of the triangle XYZ can be represented by the expression K tan. So the area in square units of the triangle XYZ, the area of this can be represented by the expression K times tan 38. So what is tangent of 38? We know tangent is opposite over adjacent. So tangent of 38 is opposite, which is XY, over adjacent, 28, times K tan 38, where K is a constant. What is the value of K? So here, this is the area of the triangle. This is the first way that we can find the area of the triangle. The second way is height times base. So 28 times this divided by 2. So 28, so this basically XY over 28 times K. We can write that as, let's move this here. So we can set this equal to the height, 28, times base, XY, divided by 2. Now what happens here? XY and XY cancels out, and we get K over 28. So we can now multiply both sides by 28 to isolate the value of K. So here I'm going to multiply both sides by 28. So we will have these cancel out. So we will have K is equal to 28 times 28 divided by 2. What is that equal to? 28 times 28 divided by 2 gives us 392. That is the answer to this question. So the value of K is 392. 2. If you miss any of these questions, make sure that you save the question, take a screenshot or something, and do the question before the test, 1-2 days before the test as well, so you make sure that you got these questions, and in case if you see the questions, you know how to do them. You make sure that you know how to do these questions. Now let's move on to question number 9. It says a right rectangular prism has a base area of 56t square centimeter. The length of the base of the rectangular prism is this, and the height of the rectangular prism is 3. Which expression represents the surface area of the right rectangular prism? So we have a right rectangular prism, and the base area is 56t square. So the length of the base of this rectangular prism is 14/3 centimeter. So this is how the shape looks like then. This is the base of the shape, and this is the height, and that's how it goes. There we go. Now the area of the base is, this area is 56t, and the length of the base is 14/3. So the length of this is 14/3. The height of this rectangular prism is 3. This height is 3. Which expression represents the surface area? So we want to find the surface area of this rectangle. How would we find it? We have the area of this already. We want to find the area of all the faces and add them up, right? So we already have the area of this. That's equal to area of this. So we have 2 times 56t, right? So 2 times 56t plus, now we need to find the area of this face and the area of these faces, right? So the area of this face, the front face, is easy because we have the length of this 14/3 and we have the height. So that's 3 times 14/3, that's 14 times 2, because we have 2 of them, 2 of those, it's going to be 28 plus the area of this face. Okay, so here is 3. We don't know about this here. So what we can do, we know the area of this space, which is 56t. How do we find the area of the space? We do this x, this side, times 14/3 equals 56t. That way I can find this value of x. So I'm do like x times 14/3 gives me the area of the base, which is 56t. So by dividing both sides by 14/3, we can get the length of this side. So then that means I'm going to divide 56/t by 14/3. Let's move this a little bit up so we can see what is going on. Now here's what we can do. So this divided by this, 56 divided by 14 is 4. So we have 4/3. Then we multiply this, so it's going to be 12t. You can also do it this way. You can also do it this way rather than that if you didn't get that. 56 divided by 14/3 is 12. So this is 12t. So this side is 12t. Now what is the area of this face? 12t times 3 is 36t. 2 of these 36t's is going to be 72t. So plus 72t. Now let's add these into decimals. We have 2 times 56t. So 2 times 56 is 112t plus 72. So this plus 72 is 184t. So we have 184t plus 28. That is 184t plus 28, choice B. That's how we do this question. The mistake that most students is doing in this question is that they think the base is a square, and they think the question is so easy, easier than what they like, the easy question, that if the square's base is, the shape's base is a square, then you might think that here is 14/3. So this is also 14/3. So you do 14/3 and then times this height, and then you multiply by 4 to find all the faces, and then you add the 2 times 56t with the 4 faces. That's not correct. That will give you one of the choices but not the correct choice. But this is how we do this question. All right, the last question is a unit circle question. It looks a hard question, but it is a very easy question if you know the unit circle and how to do the unit circle questions. So here the question says, in the xy plane, a unit circle with center at the origin O contains point A with coordinates this and point B with this coordinate. If the measure of angle AOB is p radians, what is the value of cosine p divided by sine p? So the unit circle looks like this. We have this, the x-axis shows the cosine, y shows the sine. We have the point O here, we have point A at 1, 0, that is here, point A, and we have point B at this coordinates. I don't know what is these coordinates, what is 12/√34, but I know that this is positive, this one is negative. So the x coordinate is positive, it's here, and then y coordinate is negative, so it's at this 4th quadrant. So the point B is somewhere here. So I'm just going to put a point B here, and this is the angle P. If the measure of angle AOB is p radians, what is the cosine of P and sine P? So we're looking for cosine of this angle and the sine of this angle. Now what is the fact about the unit circle is whatever the coordinates of this point is, the x coordinate shows the cosine of this angle, and the sine coordinate shows the y coordinate shows the sine of this angle. So you don't need to find what is the value of this angle. You just need to know that the coordinates of B is 5√34 and the y coordinate is -3 over root 34. So that means this is x coordinate is the cosine of p. This is the sine of p. So we look for cosine p over sine p. So we're just looking for 5 over root 34 divided by -3 over root 34. So these cancel out. You get -5 over 3. That's how we do this question. So you only need to know this fact about the unit circle. Alright, you did the 10 hard questions that can show up in the August SAT. Stay tuned for the second part where we're gonna solve the second 10 hard questions. And if you haven't booked your free tutoring, you can claim it via the link below this video. We had students who booked the tutoring, they got the strategies and they implemented themselves, and they got 200-300 points increase by the next SATs by just knowing the study plan, the game plan that they need to follow in that session. Now make sure you subscribe to get the second part of the August predictions. Good luck with your SATs. See you in the next video.